Hi, this is Margo. This is Sunday afternoon, January the 17th, 2021. We made it through another week, and I'd like to welcome everyone to the show today. This will be my weekly update that I will put on YouTube. So I hope you had a good week and survived it and are doing well and that you're all safe. I'm hanging in there. So we're going to start with methane data. We're going to go over methane, sea ice, Arctic and Antarctic, and earthquakes, and Climate Reanalyzer, and that will be the show for today. Now, when I did the show last week, CAMS they were late on releasing data, and so they'd released data through Thursday, so we saw Thursday from the week before, and then they released more data, and then through Monday this week, and then we didn't have any data for a few days, any new data, and then they released Tuesday and yesterday. Then this morning they released Wednesday the 13th, and this is the latest data. I don't know what's going on with them, but I thought what we do is go over the NOAA data, look at that, and then we'll look at Wednesday, which is, since that's the latest data from CAMS. So we're going to start, have all my slides lined up here. Here's the NOAA data for the 477/469 millibar reading. This is the METOP-1 satellite in the morning for yesterday, the 16th. The mean or average was 1,890 parts per billion, and the high reading was 2367. In the afternoon, the mean was 1891. The high reading was 2415. On the METOP-2 satellite in the morning, the mean was 1870. The high reading was 2296. And in the afternoon, the mean was 1870 and the high reading was 2385. So here's the spreadsheet and chart that we're working off of. And so last week, the data for the 9th was 1876.5, and that was our lowest so far for in this season, in this cooling off season. Then here on the 16th, it's 1880.25. So that's an increase this week of 3.75 parts per billion. So here's where it's zipping back up. Now, we did have one day where it plummeted to 1873.5. That was on the 12th. And that's the lowest reading that we've had this year. Actually, this winter, it goes up starting in the springtime, supposedly, but it's starting to go up earlier and earlier now, and up through the summer and into the fall, and then it's supposed to go down from like October, November, into over the winter, and then it's supposed to not start back up until the spring. But here we have it. So here's where I track the daily data, and I share this with my members on Subscribestar, and if you're not a member, I encourage you to go check it out. The link is in the description box below. And here we are on the 9th, where it was 1876.5, and then on the 10th it went down 1.25, and on the 11th it went up 0.5, and then here it is on the 12th, where it plummeted to 1873.5. That was a decrease of 2.25 that one day, and a decrease overall from Saturday of 3. So then the next day, on the 13th, it went up 4 parts per billion to 1877.5, so it started jumping back up. And then on the 14th it went up 0.75. On the 15th it went up 1.25. And then here we are on the 16th, and it went up 0.75. That's the overall increase for the week of 3.75. So I think we bottomed out here at 1873.5. That's just my feeling that's our low. That's our low for this cooling off time, and for the retreat. So overall, since I started tracking this data of March the 1st of 2019, we've seen an increase of 23 parts per billion. And we're up from this time last year, we're up 12 parts per billion. So even with it being the lowest part, we're still up. For this time last year, we're higher, 12 parts per billion to start out with. So there's that. So I think what I'm gonna do is break these out by years, so I can have a chart for each year, since we're headed into the 3rd year of me doing this, and maybe have the charts stacked up, one here, one here, one here. I don't know, it's just an idea that I'm kicking around. I'm trying to figure out how to organize this rather than have it just sprawling out in one long chart. So if anyone has any ideas, you could leave them in the comments section below. Now let's move on. Now I did record this data, and as a silent movie went ahead and put it up for my Subscribestar members, but we'll go ahead and run it here too. Now notice that there's no column here on the left with the days, since the only day they're showing is for Wednesday the 13th. Here we have the Arctic view and surface level pulled up. So when we look at, so let's go back here and see what had happened. So on the 13th, that had been a rebound. So the 12th was the lowest, and then on the 13th it had jumped up 4 parts per billion. So we're seeing an increase now here for this day on cams, where it had gone up 4 parts per billion. So the data is for Wednesday, and the forecast period runs Thursday through Sunday. And I think we're on the increase now. I think we bottomed out this week. That's just the trend I'm seeing. Now this area here at Severnaya Zemlya, this is Komsolomet's Island, and this has been spewing up for the last year. And look at it in the forecast period. It looks awful, and I don't know why Igor and Natalia don't just get an icebreaker and go out there and grab the air that's coming up out of the water there, rather than going over here to the East Siberia Arctic shelf. I mean, we can see that it's spewing up here, and I don't know why nobody will study this region. This region here in the North Kara Sea was not part of any of the study areas that was on the map. And so, I mean, I would go where I'm seeing it come up. And surely I'm not the only one looking at cams to see all of this. I mean, I'd want to go where it was the most. So we're still seeing waves of green move out. Now this is all coming up through the sea ice. We're seeing higher background colors here instead of just the greens. We're seeing it move into the yellows and the oranges. So by seeing the higher background colors, that's an indication of rising methane as well. We've got this problem spot in the North Atlantic. This is off the coast of Newfoundland, Canada. See, this is a constant area. Some weeks it's worse than others, but this is a constant. Also, when we look at sea surface temperature anomaly on Climate Reanalyzer, it's in very high readings. So we have this area of the ocean is very warm, very warm, and so there must be a rift there. There's got to be a rift in the sea floor here that's just opened up, and it's not getting any better. This has been spewing up here by Komsolomet's Island for the last year, constantly. So I don't know why nobody wants to go investigate that area. They'll go all around it. They'll go all the way to the North Pole, and they'll drift around in all the frozen ice, but it's not very thick there. They could get an icebreaker now and go out there. Or, they could have gone out there in the summertime when there wasn't any ice. It was coming up then. So here's the North Pole view. Now we're seeing Europe. You're hot. You've got high methane readings all the way up into the UK. Spain, you have very high readings. We've got Persian Gulf is filled up. India is not as filled up as I've seen it in the past, but it's still high readings. Bengal Bay is still emitting high readings. Now watch this area, this wave move out from China. Watch this in the forecast period on Sunday. Now here we go. Here it comes. See that wave move out? That's periodic. It releases, the ground releases a huge dark wave that moves south. We saw that a couple of weeks ago too. And the U.S. looks awful from West Texas over, and I don't know if it's from the oil drilling. They've been having earthquakes there too, but that's just awful. And then from the coastline and all across. I know they had a bunch of storms, but look at that. Now that's in the forecast period, but also for Wednesday. And the East Coast, California, see it's spilling over into Baja and going down all along Baja and drifting out in the Pacific here. And you see the green waves coming all around. So I think methane is on the rise. I think we hit our low point this week. Now we'll look at the global view. See, you can see it streaming. Here it is at Severny Zemlya. Now watch it. See when it spews up and it goes streaming out across the Arctic there. So this light purplish color is the next range down. The from the blue. The navy blue is 1800 parts per billion. Like this color. Then the next color down is 1780. So that's this color. And if we got another view, I'll show you. Like if we got, let's say we got a South America view. Wait, on the wrong one. If we got South America. See, you can see it there and see the demarcation. And then, you know, when you zoom in, you see a whole lot more methane than when you're zoomed out. So that's high too. In the interior, this is mainly Brazil. So we'll go back to the global view. Now we'll go to 500 HPA. So here's what it looked like on Wednesday. This is after it went down on Tuesday to hit the low point, and then it went up 4 parts per billion the next day. So see, we've got lots of reds over the Arctic now. So I expect to see this start to fill up with reds now over a lot of the northern hemisphere. Look at this heavy reading from Norway, southern Norway down. And then total column. So here are the highest readings down here in southern Asia and across the Bengal Bay and Indian Ocean in India. So there's that. So let's move on. I'm going to close these out as I finish them. Now we'll move on to sea ice and snow cover. This is from Climate Reanalyzer for today, and here we can see, here's Svalbard. It's still open just west of Svalbard, and we can zoom in. It's trying to fill in here in the Baffin Bay. See, it's still open right there, and it's still open in a lot of the Barents Sea on this western side of Novaya Zemlya. It's trying to come back in the Kara Sea here. We are seeing some extent coming back here in the Barents Sea. We haven't seen a lot of growth as far as extent. Now it's filled up in the Bering Strait and around Alaska, and it's coming back around this Russian coastline there. Mainly it's thickening is what you're going to see. Now it's been 2 weeks since I've shown sea ice, so I have a slideshow ready for you. So I'm going back 2 weeks to Sunday, January the 3rd, and we can see what has happened since then. So it doesn't look much different, does it? As far as extent goes, it looks pretty much the same to me. But let's see what happens. Here's the 4th, 5th. Now here it's decreasing. 6th. Remember, I showed that in a video. Here's the 7th. It's still decreasing. Here's the 8th, 9th. Now it's trying to come back. Here's the 10th. Here's the 12th. There was no data on the 11th. 13th, 14th, 15th, 16th, and here we are today, 17th. So there's that. I'm done with that. Now, this is from the Navy model, U.S. Navy. Here's sea ice thickness for today. We'll zoom in on this. Now here's Severnaya Zemlya, and here's Komsolomensk Island, so it's right here. It's where that methane is spewing up, and the sea ice is in the dark purple. It's like 1 meter to 1.5 meters thick, so it's not very thick. I don't see why they couldn't just run an icebreaker out from the Kola Peninsula straight out. I mean, they run icebreakers through here in the Gulf of Ob all the time, and they could run it straight out through here and just get some air. Just hold a flask and get it. Now here on this northwest coast of Alaska, we see white there where it's pulling away. We're also seeing this is what's remaining of the thickest part of the sea ice. It's trying to thicken up. It's sliding down into the Beaufort Sea, and as it's sliding, it's spreading out and coming into contact, probably crashing into the Alaska coastline there. We're seeing moving into the Aqua here, just north of Greenland. We're still seeing issues here in the Nares Strait, and there's a hole here by Greenland. They've been having problems there all winter. It's not refreezing there for whatever reason. we are seeing aqua come to these tributaries. That's about 2 meters thick. And we're seeing aqua along the coastline, so it's thickening more along the coastlines where the ice can anchor. And then this had all been ice free, so this is all a new refreeze. It had been ice free all around the coastline of Russia, and what was left, there was a little bit of ice here, and then the thickest ice was along here, and it's been sliding down. Now here's the 30-day animation. The data goes back 3 weeks ago, and then the forecast goes out a week from now to the 24th. So we saw a retreat at the beginning there. See it retreating, and then it's forming back. It's quite thin. It had been, we did a retreat around Franz Josef Land too, and then it's trying to come back. But there's still some open areas around there. And then it's trying to reach out to Svalbard, but it's still open there. And you can see the movement, this whole ice. It's not anchored, so it's sliding. You can see it sliding down there. And then you can see it move out away from the Alaska coastline here. See, so we're not seeing thick, past aqua very much, just a little bit of green and a little hint of red, so it's not thickening up very well. Now here's the Beaufort Sea view of the sea ice thickness, also from the Navy model. So here's Alaska down here, here's Canada, the Canadian archipelago, and here's the sea ice. And see, it's pulled away from the coastline, it's not anchored in, and here's where it's sliding and spreading out. This is today, and we can see that the ice is not very thick at all. It had gone into the dark reddish color, between 4.5 to 5 meters thick, but as the ice pulls away, it just loses the thickness, and then when it's able to kind of be gathered back up, it crashes together and gets thicker. But this is all one piece, and it's just moving. It's free floating. It's not anchored. Here's the 30-day animation. Again, and the forecast goes out a week from now. See how it pulls away more even at the very end of the forecast period, and sliding. And look, watch here on Alaska. See? So the sea ice is just having problems. And I'm not seeing dramatic thickening. It's about the same at the beginning of the 30 days as it is at the end. Just kind of sloshing around. Okay, now we'll look at the Antarctic. This is the sea ice thickness for today. Now, here the landmass is in the center, and the sea ice is around it, and they're in the middle of their summer season. And the sea ice traditionally melts. Most of it melts, and it's in high melt right now. We're seeing it. You can see the Ross Sea is open almost all the way out to the Pacific Ocean there, and along the coastlines a lot here, and here, and here's the Larsen ice shelves that's on the Western Peninsula. This is the Weddell Sea, and you can see that's getting quite thin. The thickest ice is right along here, and here on the west, and now it's free floating. So there's that. Here's the 30-day animation. So you can see it's in high melt right now. I'll zoom in. Okay, so there's all those. Next we'll look at Sea Ice Index from the National Snow and Ice Data Center. Here we have the Arctic blue marble view. This is daily. This is concentration that I've chosen, and we can see shades of blue, and we're looking for white for it to be the most concentrated, and where you see the blue and the darker blue it is, that's the less concentrated it is. Here's the chart of Arctic sea ice extent, and this blue line is this year, and the dotted line is the 2012 season, and until this year 2012 had been the lowest on record, but now it's this year. Here's the mean, median or average up here, but we're below that even. And remember, in 2012 the sea ice was a lot thicker, so to see it that much below 2012 and for it to be so thin is very concerning, because when it heads into the melt season, there's not going to be very much ice to melt up there, and it'll go quickly. Now here's the Antarctic. Again, here's the concentration. We can see the blues where it's not very concentrated at all. And And here's this chart for sea ice extent. Now the blue line is this year, and we can see that it's dropping. It had been up pretty high, but it's dropping really fast. This dark line is last year, and we had gone down and tied with last year, and then it's just above it right now. And last year was the lowest. So even though it started out with quite a bit of extent, it's melting fast. Things have changed. It's a different world, and the water's heated up so much that, and we've got active volcanoes down there, and also probably volcanoes coming back to life here in the Arctic as well. We've got earthquakes, we've got all kinds of things, and more pollution in the water and in the air, and you know, the air temperature is warmer, the sea surface temperature is warmer, so it's just different, a whole different environment. Now here's NASA Worldview. Here's sea ice concentration. This is the Arctic today. Here we have Svalbard. You can see that's totally ice free there. Here's where the extent is trying to come back. Here in the Barents Sea, there's still a little hole here in just north of Novae Zemlya, and a hole here in the Kara Sea. Now here's the Kosovo's Island where the methane is spewing up, and we're starting to see more white, which is good. White is more concentrated, but we're still seeing some reds here north of Greenland where it's not as concentrated. And we're also seeing an area here on the north coast of Alaska. Here's Barrow. It's just to the west of Barrow. It's a hole that's opened up in the coastline, and this is where we saw the ice pulling away. That's the pulling away we saw on the Navy model. So let's go back. I'll zoom out a little bit. Wait, not that much. Well, here we go. Let's go back to the 3rd. That's where we were before. So here we were on the 3rd. Looks about the same, doesn't it? Now we'll see what's happened. Here's the 4th, 5th, 6th. See, it's going into the retreat here. Here's the 7th, 8th, 9th. Now it's on the refreeze. 10th, 11th, 12th, 13th, 14th, 15th, 16th, and today. So the extent is mainly coming out here in the Barents Sea and filling in here in the Kara Sea. Is what I'm seeing. It's trying to come up to the coastline of Greenland here in the Baffin Bay. There's still an area here where the water is quite warm coming up there. But we're still seeing it ice-free by this west side of Svalbard. Now we'll go down. We'll take a peek at the Antarctic. here we are today. There we are, zoomed out. We got a bunch of clouds that we have to maneuver through. Now I'm tracking this A68 iceberg that's breaking up. Here's the biggest piece that's left. And here's South Georgia Island. And it had been on a collision course with the island, but it took a hard right. And then the back end broke off of it. There's that piece. And then the finger, the front end, which I call the finger, broke off. And it's, where is it? It's up here now. I think that's where, that's it. Let's see. Oh, here's the finger. Look at the ripples. Look at that. That's being beamed. Massively beamed. This whole area is being massively beamed. So here's the finger right there underneath a big cloud. And then here's the biggest piece. And I'm sure they're afraid that it's going to head over to these South Sandwich Islands, which have these ripples, and I don't know what these are from. If anybody has any ideas, I have my ideas, but why would an island show up with ripples in the clouds like that is beyond me. It doesn't look normal to me. Looks like beaming to me. And we can see it's overlapped and just massively doesn't look normal. So there's that. Then, look, here's some more. Then here's this Western Peninsula. This is the Larsen ice shelf area. Here's the Weddell Sea. Here's Pine Island Glacier. Here's the Thwaites Glacier. That's called the Doomsday Glacier. And it's cloud covered today. Let's see if we can get a better view. It's cloudy a lot down here. Here we go. Here's the 13th. Here's Pine Island Glacier. We can see this is where it calved off last year, and then the sea ice had refrozen. So this is, it's ready to come out as soon as this melts. And I'm surprised it hasn't melted yet. Here's where it's melting, it's coming off. These pieces are melting. It's not very thick. I'm just really surprised that it's still intact. Now this is the Thwaites Glacier here. That's under a cloud right there. Now the tongue is broken off. Well, it broke off a while back. Oh, look at this. See? But it had refrozen, but now it's just hard to see anything. But the big piece that had been up here, see, that's all melted and it's coming off. So this is where it had calved last year, and we're just waiting to see what's going to happen. And with it so cloudy, we can't really see. See, we can't really see what's going on there. I imagine it's melting. Here it's melted around all these coastlines. Here's the Ross Sea. You can see this is ice-free. Here we have just remnants of ice here. See, it's not very thick, what's left. But it's open here by the Ross ice shelf. Look at this. There's crosshatch beaming. Here's the ice shelf. Here's Ross Island. We got a cloud covering it. Look, more beaming there. See, it's ice-free all around here. Just a little bit of ice around the coastlines. But a lot of the coastlines, see, it's come all the way up. Now, let's see. Where's the Totten? Here's the Totten Glacier. Here it is today. We'll go back. You can see this is the tongue, and the ice has melted all the way up here to the glacier part, or the ice sheet. This is a cloud here. There's a good view. This was the 14th. You can see the pieces breaking off. See? So that's coming apart. Here's the east side. This is the Amory ice sheet. This is a big one. We've got a little bit of cloud cover, quite a bit of cloud cover. Here's the edge. Just so many clouds. Here we go. Here it is on the 12th. Look. See. Now, this was part of the ice shelf, and this big piece broke off last year, D28, and floated out. So we're looking to see, like, as things melt, we'll see more rocks that are exposed. We'll see more blues, which are indications of the glacier melt. You can see the flow of it's a slow movement of the ice. You can see the right here, even see the blue that's on the ice sheet there. And as we get further along in the melt season, we'll see blue ponds, which are melt ponds, which is melted on top of the ice. Here it is today. It's pretty cloudy. Here's the north side. See, it's melting all the way up. Now here's the Brunt ice sheet. It's under clouds today. Here's our best view from the 12th. Here's the crack. See, going all the way down. And there's another crack there. It's kind of hard to see. I'm seeing quite a few cracks. Look, it looks like it's starting to really crack up. I'm surprised it's still intact. So let's go forward. Here it is today. So here's the Weddell Sea, here's the Weddell ice shelf. See, it's melted all the way up to the ice shelf. So all of this ice acts as a cooling mechanism, just like the ice in the Arctic. But most of it will melt before the sun goes down. The sun's up 24/7 down there right now. So there's that. Now let's look at Climate Reanalyzer. Here's 2-meter temperature anomaly for today. We can see it's red just above Greenland. And look here over the Baffin Bay, it's red. And we've got reds and browns through Canada. We've got browns through the western part of the United States. Got a lot of blues and purples over here throughout Russia. The Antarctic is picking up. It's up 0.7 C higher than normal. We've got a bunch of browns down here. So the Arctic is up 1.3 C higher than normal. Now that's gone way down. It had been way up, and for I don't remember what it was last week, whether it was 3 C higher than normal, but it's gone down this week. But the northern hemisphere is up 0.7 C, so that's gone down. That had been up to like 1.1 C higher than normal. The Antarctic is up 0.7 C higher than normal. So there's that. Precipitation. We can see it's raining just north of Iceland and over to Norway, and snowing up here in the Barents Sea. The blue is snow and the green is rain. Here's this storm coming into along Alaska and the Canadian border there. Here's sea level pressure. So we've got a high set up over the Arctic right now. Here's the jet stream. Look at this. Not much of a stream, is it? It looks worse every time I see it. I know I say that every time, but it's true. This is what causes weather chaos. We saw sea ice and snow cover. Here's sea surface temperature anomaly. This is updated to Friday, the 15th. Now, we've got a bunch of browns still up here in the Barents Sea. and look around Greenland and see up here in the North Atlantic off of the coast of Newfoundland and northern US. See, it's up into the pink, and the light pink into the white is 6°C higher than normal. Now this is the area where we're seeing that bubble of methane in the North Atlantic kind of as a constant. So see, that's this whole area down. I don't know why it's like that. It just is. Here's the blob in the South Pacific. That's heating back up. We've got warm area in the South Atlantic and warm area in the South Indian Ocean. And it's warm around Australia and see in the West Pacific as well, and around Japan. And also look at these inland lakes. These are this is the Black Sea. It's brown and into the reds there. Here's the Mediterranean. Here's the Caspian Sea here. So the North Atlantic is up 0.6°C higher than normal. That's the highest one. There's that. Now we're going to look at some earthquakes. I took these pictures this morning from USGS, all magnitudes. There were 275 in the last 24 hours. Now look at these where it's lined up along the red lines. We're seeing large. These are 5s. These size dots are 5s. 5. Then these are 4s. 4s, 4s, 4s and 5s. 4s. So we're seeing plate movement. That's what this is indicating. Here in the lower 48, we've got 171. Southern California is showing 50, going down into Baja there. Here at Cyril's Valley Ridgecrest area, we've got 36. Now, you see this cluster here? That's at Olancha. That's an old volcano. We've got 24 right there, and the largest one was at 4.0, and the depth was only 0.1 kilometers deep. So magma's rising. The earthquake was not very deep. It was so magma's rising up into the chamber of the old volcano region there, and it's coming back to life. Here in western Nevada over to Mammoth Lakes, we've got 38. And here, this is kind of in central Nevada, near Austin, was a 2.9. This is south of San Francisco. This is at Aromas, California, 4.2. So we're seeing larger earthquakes here. Now here's Northern California. We've got 4. But the largest one is this one on land. I mean in the water. At the base of the Juan de Fuca plate, it's a 4.4. And then we had a 2.3 at Hayfork, and at Viola we had a 2.9 and a 2.3. Pacific Northwest over to Yellowstone is only showing 6 today. Here from Texas over to Oklahoma, we're only showing 3. Now this one in West Texas is a 2.6. Now this is the area where we're seeing that methane just pouring up from West Texas like a big wall. Now there's a lot of oil wells all the way from Midland, Odessa, Permian Basin, all the way west. So, you know, it could be from oil wells, the drilling, that the earthquakes, but also the methane. Here in Puerto Rico, we've got 28 today in this area. Here next to the Cocos plate, we've got a 4.4 near Leon, Nicaragua. South America and in the South Atlantic here, we've got 6 earthquakes. Down here, we've got a 4.8 in the South Sandwich Islands region. And then we've got 5 here in South America. From 4.2 up to 4.7. So those are all 4s along there. Hawaii showing 26 today. They're mainly clustered down here at Pahala. Alaska's only showing 28. Now that's a very low number, and so it shows me that pressure is building. Normally we see 50 to 100 a day, but recently we've seen, 40 to 50 a day. But now with it way down, that's kind of worrisome, because it makes me think that pressure's building for a big one to happen somewhere. Here's a 5.4 off the coast of Kamchatka, Russia. Here in the South Pacific, we've got 3, a 5.2 at Vanuatu, 4.5 at Fiji, that was 555 kilometers deep, and a 5.5 at Vanuatu. Here in the West Pacific, we've got 2. We've got a 5.1 at Taiwan and a 4.5 at Iwaki, Japan, in the ocean there. We've got 3 in this picture. India is on the left here. This is Burma, and then China. So we've got 1 in each country here. We've got a 4.3, 4.4 at China, and a 4.3 at Myanmar, Burma. See, it's kind of in a straight line, in a row there. So that's kind of unusual to see them on land lined up like that. Then we've got a 5.5 at Germ, Afghanistan. And then we've got 3 in this picture. We've got 1 by Crete, a 4.2. We've got a 4.1 on land in Turkey, and a 4.7 here in the Persian Gulf, on the coast of Iran. Almost, it looks like it's right at the opening, and then there's Dubai across from it. So it's right there at the opening of the Persian Gulf. And that's all of those. Let's see what else has come in. Here's a new one up here in China. Mongolia. Now this is, we've seen a lot of action up here in the last few days. There was a 6 point something up here, and these are still aftershocks. 4.3 and 4.5 at Turk, Mongolia. Now this is Russia right on the other side there, and we've seen earthquakes in this area in Russia. This Lake Baikal, that's a earthquake prone area. Yeah, let's see. I want to zoom in and see what's going on. See if anything else is happening here. At Aromas, no, 7. See, 4.2, 2.1, 3.0, 2.0, and so on. And the depth, 8, around 6.8 to 8 kilometers deep. Then, so see, that's right on the San Andreas fault line. There's a couple. Let's see what else we've got. See all of this activity coming down into Baja. Got 49 here. Now let's go back to Olancha. See what else is going on here. 24. Is that what it was? It was about that. 4.0 is the largest, then a 3.8, the next one down, 3.2, 2.4, and then these are 1s. Now a lot of these are shallow. This 2.4 is at surface level, 0 depth. Here's a 1.8 at a negative 0.3 kilometer depth. So that's up in the chamber. So magma's rising. Here's another one, a 1.2 at a negative 0.3, 1.1 minus 0.7, 1.0 minus 0.3, 1.5 minus 0.3. It just keeps going like that. So magma's rising up into this chamber of this dormant volcano. It's a field of volcanoes. When you look on Google Earth, it's a whole field of volcanoes there. Where you can see it's like the flow, the black flow and everything, and the cinder cones. So that could come back to life. So here's Tonopah and over to Mammoth Lakes, 40 now. So still going. Oh, here's a new one. Here's 2 new ones. Look at this. Here in Texas. Now we saw the 2.6. Here's a new one, 3.0 near Toya, Texas. And then here's one by Midland, a 2.3 at Midland. So this is all from oil drilling. So there's that. This one, that's new, a 5.4 South Sandwich Islands, and we saw the 4.8 or whatever, but now that's fallen off the map, and now we've had a 5.4. Now our iceberg is right down here, so maybe they're trying to steer the iceberg. I don't know, anything is possible. So I'd like to finish up the show continuing to read out of the book of Psalms. Now, there are 150 Psalms I've been making my way through, so we might get finished one of these days. Psalms chapter 136. O give thanks unto the Lord, for he is good, for his mercy endureth forever. O give thanks unto the God of gods, for his mercy endureth forever. O give thanks to the Lord of lords, for his mercy endureth forever. To him who alone doeth great wonders, for his mercy endureth forever. To him that by wisdom made the heavens, for his mercy endureth forever. To him that stretched out the earth above the waters, for his mercy endureth forever. To him that made great lights, for his mercy endureth forever. The sun to rule by day, for his mercy endureth forever. The moon and stars to rule by night, for his mercy endureth forever. To him that smote Egypt in their firstborn, for his mercy endureth forever. And brought out Israel from among them, for his mercy endureth forever. With a strong hand and with a stretched out arm, for his mercy endureth forever. To him which divided the Red Sea into parts, for his mercy endureth forever. And made Israel to pass through the midst of it, for his mercy endureth forever. But overthrew Pharaoh and his host in the Red Sea, for his mercy endureth forever. To him which led his people through the wilderness, for his mercy endureth forever. To him which smote great kings, for his mercy endureth forever. And slew famous kings, for his mercy endureth forever. Sihon, king of the Amorites, for his mercy endureth forever. And Og, the king of Bashan, for his mercy endureth forever. And gave their land for an heritage, for his mercy endureth forever. Even an heritage unto Israel his servant, for his mercy endureth forever. Who remembered us in our low estate, for his mercy endureth forever, and hath redeemed us from our enemies, for his mercy endureth forever. Who giveth food to all flesh, for his mercy endureth forever. O give thanks unto the God of heaven, for his mercy endureth forever. Psalms chapter 136. So God is very supernatural, and he can protect us supernaturally. And that's the best protection. It's better than any man-made weapon or putting our trust in any man, to put our trust in Lord God, and to have Jesus as our friend and companion and teacher and Savior. And so I encourage you to, if you've not given your life to Jesus Christ, now would be a good time. Dark days are coming. They are upon us. And God will lead us through the dark days if we put our faith and trust in him. So I love you all, and I'm praying for you. I hope you have a good week. And until next time, God bless you. Go in peace, and I will talk to you soon. Goodbye.